So before we get into the Ouseburn video, a couple of mentions. A couple of days ago I released my latest video, which was about the Granger market. If you haven't already seen it, check it out, man. It took us 3 days to film, and I'm also out today doing some preparatory video work for tomorrow, which is focusing on the Shark Club, when I'm going to watch the match between West Ham and Newcastle United. So if you're out and about, pop in and say hello. You don't have to be interested in football. You'll probably just enjoy seeing a new place where you can come and eat and drink. So on to this particular video about Ouseburn's part 3 in a series of videos I'm doing, which is now one of my favourite places in Newcastle. This one's about the redevelopment and regeneration of Ouseburn. But to help us, I've got a guest person in doing the video for us. He's called Jordan Reeve. He knows a thing or two about the built-up environment and Newcastle heritage. And in this video he's going to go into a little bit more detail than I do in my previous 2 videos, which were things that you didn't know about Ouseburn. And like I say, if you haven't already seen them, check them out. Jordan Reeve knows a thing or two about town planning, etc. Check his YouTube channel out. He's only got 500 or so subscribers. His channel's not getting the recognition it deserves. So have a look at his videos, subscribe to his channel please, and I hope you enjoy this one where he's going to talk about the regeneration of Ouseburn. So Jordan, over to you.
Thanks Eddie for the introduction. I'm Jordan Reeve. I run a YouTube channel regarding the built environment with a special focus on sort of Newcastle and Newcastle's history. In my day job I actually work as a planning consultant, and in this video I'm going to cover the regeneration of the Ouseburn Valley. This will include things such as the PFP igloo development, and I think one of the most important things is to understand regeneration. You have to understand where places come from. So the Ouseburn is located to the east of Newcastle city centre. This is in a steep wooded valley that is between Shieldfield and Byker. The term Ouseburn, whilst referring to the whole river, when used colloquially often refers to the lower Ouseburn Valley. The lower valley runs from the culvert to the mouth of the river. This is where the River Ouseburn meets the River Tyne. So the Ouseburn regeneration has been going on for around 40 years now. I'm going to explore this steep change between the left behind industrial land and the sort of creative environment we see today. So industry was sort of the main historical reason for development in Ouseburn. Whilst there were a few homes located in this area, it was mainly sort of the production of all sorts of products that was the reason it became developed in the first place. However, with the developments in the 20th century, this area became out of fashion, with the East Coast Main Line bypassing this, as well as New Bridge Street and the Ouseburn Viaduct also passing over the valley. This meant a lot of sort of transportation links went across the valley but didn't actually interact with it at all. This was then furthered by the metro, which again has an impressive viaduct over the valley but has no metro station or sort of interconnectivity with the valley. However, these sort of 3 major bridges provide a very interesting backdrop for the rest of the Ouseburn. The regeneration of the Ouseburn is often said to have started with Mike Mould in 1982 when he bought 36 Lime Street for his theatre company. This was for his theatre company Broovers, and following the purchase of this he slowly started converting this building, which was a disused warehouse originally constructed by John Dobson. This was joined by other not-for-profit organisations in the valley such as Byker City Farm. Mike Mould then further rented out spaces within the warehouse we know today as 36 Lime Street to other artists and creatives, and they formed a cooperative. In 1983, one of the first sort of public sector regeneration schemes in the valley was undertaken by Newcastle City Council, and this was the creation of the Foundry Lane Industrial Estate. And this is a very small scale 1-storey industrial estate which is sort of on the banks of the Ouseburn. And one of the reasons the Ouseburn has been developed in the way it has, and that is in a way with a very large historical presence and cultural sensitivity, is that it was undertaken as sort of a reaction to the whole-scale redevelopment which was occurring on the East Quay side. So throughout the 1990s, adjacent to the site along the River Tyne, the former sort of quayside industrial buildings and land had been massively cleared by the Tyne Redevelopment Corporation. This saw Newcastle's quayside east completely cleared and whole-scale redeveloped into offices, bars and restaurants. And whilst this was a very successful regeneration scheme, it completely wiped away a large part of the history of the area. Whilst one or two buildings on the east quayside remain, the main historical buildings and sort of historical land use is gone. And I think having that large-scale redevelopment happening so close to Ouseburn was sort of a warning sign of what could happen to the Ouseburn. And quite interestingly, the Ouseburn was actually included in the Tyne Redevelopment Corporation's land, so technically they had the power and remit to redevelop the Ouseburn. So the East Quayside Group was created as sort of a reaction to the overall East Quayside redevelopment, and this later evolved into the Ouseburn Trust with the sort of idea of protecting the cultural and historical heritage and also providing sort of research on the area. The Ouseburn Trust remains sort of a landlord and a developer in the valley and often seeks to improve the heritage and regeneration of the area. There are a number of schemes they've completed, obviously helping things such as the Stepney Bank stables establish and supporting the Ouseburn Festival. In 2002, the Lower Ouseburn Valley became a conservation area. This means that new developments would have to take into consideration the sort of historical and setting of the area when proposing new developments. Other notable things that happened in the early 2000s was the National Centre for Children's Books opening in the valley. This is now called 7 Stories. And in 2004, the Ouseburn Farm reopens in the place of Biker City Farm. Other noticeable things happening in the Ouseburn was the Wimpy Tower, which was a proposed skyscraper on the mouth of Malmo Quay. Following sort of strong opposition to this overall proposal and the constraints of the site, this was dropped and a smaller 13-storey tower was proposed on the site. In 2006, with Heritage Lottery funding, the Victoria Tunnel was able to open, and this now features a small section where you can actually walk in. Another part of the overall regeneration was the long-awaited Ouseburn Barrage. This was constructed around 2008. The idea of this was undertaking a study to improve the water environment in the Ouseburn. This barrage was placed at the mouth of the Ouseburn, and the idea was to hold water levels in the River Ouseburn to improve sort of the appearance and look of the river. The toffee factory is often seen as sort of one of the major turning points for regeneration in Ouseburn in the recent years of bringing even more creatives. And in 2011, the Riverside Walkway was completed. Other noticeable things in the overall regeneration is in 2012, the Spillers Mill, all located on the banks of the River Tyne, was demolished, and this was a former flour mill. If we look into the sort of more recent developments of the Ouseburn, we're in a moment of major regeneration for the Ouseburn. It's one of the fastest changing places in the city. This is all being undertaken through a development partnership with PFP Igloo, who are working on behalf of Newcastle City Council to redevelop these sites. Whilst the valley is sort of still home to garages, scrapyards and sort of storage spaces, there's been a recent number of residential developments in the valley. The first phase of this being undertaken in the development partnership was the Mailings, and these are 76 homes completed in 2017. These won the National Housing Design Awards in 2016 and feature sort of a radical design of townhouses arranged around communal spaces, private gardens, as well as some small retail units which front the Riverside Walkway. Phase 2 of the overall recent regeneration undertaken was Lower Steenberg's Yard. This was on the opposite side of the river to the Malmo development, and this introduced 28 homes and 9,000 square feet of office space. This was completed in 2021. This features a sort of a modern rendition of a Tyneside flat with terraces which overlook the river. The third and probably the most controversial phase of this regeneration is Malmo Quay, and as you heard previously, there was a wimpy scheme for a skyscraper on the site that's been previously approved through a planning inspector of a 13-storey tower on the site, but now there is a proposal by PFP Igloo for an 18-storey tower and townhouses to be built on this site. The final sort of phase to be undertaken by PFP Igloo on behalf of Newcastle City Council will be Spillers Quay, and this will see the cycle hub area around Spillers Quay regenerate into more flats and a parking barn for the developments. So what you can see, there's a lot of momentum behind developments in Ouseburn at the moment, and these sort of threats now of the YI, and some people see the tower as again a threat to the overall regeneration of Ouseburn as it potentially going too far. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you subscribe to Tyneside Life, as Eddie covers all things sort of Tyne and Wear and the surrounding area, including history, culture and of course football. And obviously I'd like to thank Eddie for featuring me in this video.